One of the benefits of having gone through a pretty significant real estate crisis 10 plus years ago was the development of the short sale, really. That crisis started out with, "Holy cow, what are we gonna do?" And nobody knew what to do. The banks didn't know what to do. Everybody knew what you they could do, but, what was this gonna look like? And really out of that developed the short sale process. And agents got pretty darn good at the short sale process. We were getting a lot of deals were getting done, and it became basically it went from non-existent to basically commonplace. So the during the prior recession, I think we everybody learned how to be good at that, and we have a pretty good backdrop on and knowledge base on how to be good at that again. Uh, but should that be kind of a tactic or a strategy that investors need to look at short sales? I know this involves the anti-deficiency statute and all of that. Um, but I wanted to go right to this question for you, Sean. And you can talk as generally as you want about short sales, but I'm interested in wholesaling has become such a popular thing in this most recent market. Maybe it's slowing some because of the market now. But how can wholesaling and can it be utilized in the short sale context? Should we kind of get back to that market again?
Can it can it be done? Yes. We're gonna have to see exactly if short sales become a thing again. We're gonna have to see what the bank's requirements are, and what they say as far as are they going to allow properties to be purchased in the names of trusts? Are they going to allow properties to be purchased in the names of LLCs? Um, or are they going to require that the buyers be individuals? And if they're individuals, that's going to be a lot tougher. And it would be more of a um, more difficult because most banks towards the middle to the end of the short sale era, they started putting in their affidavits that the buyer can't transfer or convey the property for 90 days. Um, Now, what does that mean? What does transfer or convey mean? Could you do an agreement for sale? Could you do an option, and buy it, in your personal name, and then offer that to a subsequent buyer immediately upon close of escrow? Sure, you probably could do that. Um, Depending on the language of the affidavit, right? You don't wanna sign an affidavit that misleads the bank because that's, loan fraud. So you have to look at the very specific provisions of the affidavit to say, are they what do they mean by transfer? Is it, fee title transfer? Is it deed transfer? Or is it, providing an interest in the property? So a lot will be dependent upon the language in that affidavit and what you can or can't do, right? So you have to be very careful with what you represent to the bank, and you need to make sure your representations are accurate. So that's number one. But if a bank does allow for property to be purchased via a trust or via an LLC, well, then you could convey an interest in the property via a conveyance of a personal property interest or via the amendment of a trust versus actually conveying the real estate by deed. That makes sense. So if the trust is going to buy it, then and the bank approves the trust to buy it, unless the affidavit says you can't change the beneficiary of the trust or the trustee of the trust, you can go and change the beneficiary of the trust and the trustee of the trust um, at any point, right? And so if the bank doesn't require that and doesn't have that as a restriction, then you can do that. Same with an LLC. If the bank approves an LLC purchasing the property and doesn't put a restriction in their approval or in the affidavit that the buyer has to sign saying, oh, you can't convey a membership interest, which is personal property. It's not real estate. You can't convey a membership interest in the buyer for however long, or you can't ever convey a membership. You're restricted on that. Or prior to closing, you can't convey a membership interest in the LLC. There would be nothing stopping you from conveying a membership interest in the LLC prior to closing. And, that's how you would effectuate essentially a wholesale of a short sale. But it really is going to depend upon what you have to represent and affirm to the bank and the bank's requirements of approval of the sale. And we'll just have to wait and see.